Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Heidi from My Reading Life, and I'm here today to talk about my pile of possibilities, my TBR for the Springathon. So Springathon is a read-a-thon that's happening in May. I will leave a link to my announcement video down below. And I am co-hosting Springathon with Natalie from Curious Reader and Doris from Aldi Books. And it is a 2-week read-a-thon that basically the one thing you need to do to participate is to read one book of nonfiction that is about nature. And I plan to read books about nature or books that are considered nature writing throughout the month of May. And so I have a very large pile of possibilities here to talk to you about. We do have 4 prompts that you can use to help guide your reading or not. It's totally up to you. As long as the book is a work of nature writing, you are participating in the Springathon Read-A-Thon. And the Springathon, the actual 2 weeks is from May 9th to May 22nd. But like I said, I will be reading books about nature for the entire month. So the 4 prompts are diversity, sustainability, connectivity, and activity. And I'm going to talk about books that meet each of those prompts. Before I forget, at the end of this video, there will be some clips from nature where I live that I filmed in the last week or so that I want to share with you just because it's fun to share the nature around where I live. So stay tuned for that if you want to see those vlog clips at the end of this video after I talk about the books. So number 1 for and hits the diversity prompt as well as some of the other prompts is our group read for the Springathon and also the Book Naturalists book club pick for the month of May. This is Small Bodies of Water by Mingya Powles, and this is diverse in the author is from a diverse background. She is a writer from New Zealand, and she's won tons of prizes, and so this is a voice from an area that I'm not very familiar with, so that's a aspect of diversity from this book. And this also talks about how this is a collection of essays, and so it talks about a diverse amount of topics. So this book definitely fits some of the other prompts as well. Connectivity, activity, talks about swimming, things like that. So it's going to hit a lot of prompts. So if you're looking for one book that sort of hits all 4 prompts, this is a great book. Plus it's the group read, plus it's the Book Naturalist read. So we're going to be reading that for sure. And then also I think a book that meets the diversity prompt is this one, The Language of Butterflies, How Thieves, Hoarders, Scientists, and Other Obsessives Unlock the Secrets of the World's Favorite Insect by Wendy Williams. And this talks about the diversity within the group of insects that we know as butterflies and how diverse that group is and different types of individual species within that group. And I have had this on my TBR for well over a year, and I really want to get to it. And this cover is so glorious. So looking forward to that. Then for the sustainability prompt, I have several books here. I have Beloved Beast by Michelle Nijhuis, and this is about fighting for life in an age of extinction, about sustainability of species, basically. And this book talks about different animal species and how conservation movements have developed around the globe. So definite. If you're looking to read about diversity of species, that is a good one. Also, sustainability of species. I will say, I would think it would hit either one of those prompts. How do we sustain animal life in our world today? Another book that I've really been wanting to get to is Under a White Sky, The Nature of the Future by Elizabeth Kolbert. I've read 2 other books by Elizabeth Kolbert, The Sixth Extinction and Field Notes from a Catastrophe. Rachel Kolbert does a lot of writing, and I'm probably pronouncing her last name wrong. It might be Colbert. I'm sorry. She does a lot of writing around climate change and how what's happening in that particular realm of science writing. I think she's a really, really excellent writer, and I think this definitely fits the prompt for sustainability. And then lastly, in the sustainability category, I have this book that's been on my TBR for quite a while. This is The Big Burn, Teddy Roosevelt and the Fire That Saved America by Timothy Egan. Timothy Egan, I've read one book by him in the past, and that was, what was the name of that one? The Worst Hard Time, about the Dust Bowl and the Great Depression. This, if you take off the dust jacket, has this glorious naked hardback. Just this photograph of these two men sitting in a mine shaft, or the beginning of a mine shaft. And this book, The Big Burn, is about a fire that happened out west in the United States in 1910, and how, you know, the efforts of firefighters to contain that forest fire, and how that intersected with the efforts of the United States at that time under Teddy Roosevelt to start a conservation movement to protect wildlands and to establish a National Forest Service whose mission would be to deal with wild forest fires. So I have really been wanting to get to this. Even the back of the dust jacket has a nice photograph. This is sort of combining conservation and history and a time that I've really been interested in reading about in early American efforts to start conservation projects in the United States. So looking forward to that one. I'm looking forward to all these. I don't know why I keep saying that. I'm sorry. So connectivity is the next prompt that I want to talk about. And for that, I have Settled in the Wild, Notes from the Edge of Town by Susan Hand Shetterly. Shetterly is an author that I have read previously and really enjoyed. She writes about life in Maine and wild things, nature writing that takes place in Maine. And this particular tiny little hardcover specifically talks about the shores, the mudflats, and the paths of rural Maine, and Shetterly's connection to these landscapes and seascapes, and that is, you know, directly in my wheelhouse. This is like basically it me kind of a thing. And there's a picture of our author standing in a salt marsh on the edge of the coast of Maine. So yeah, been putting this one off for a while. It's just a tiny little book. It's just a little over 200 pages, and I'm definitely going to be getting to this one during the Springathon. The next one for connectivity is this collection of essays by Susan Orlean on animals. And this is columns that she wrote throughout her career as an author that are just about the connection between humans and animals. So it's probably a lot of stuff about domestic animals, because Susan Orlean writes about things like dogs and chickens and things like that. But she also is talking about tigers and whales and pigeons and all different kinds of tamed and untamed animals. And I really enjoyed Susan Orlean in the book, The Orchid Thief, that she wrote. That was a really excellent piece of sort of narrative nonfiction about this guy who was like stealing rare and endangered orchids to sell to plant fanciers. That was a great book. So really interested to read this one and to see what I think about her sort of more essay type writing. And then for the last prompt, we have activity, and I have two books that are very active. The first one is a classic of nature nonfiction. This is The Snow Leopard by Peter Matthiessen. And this is about his trip in 1973 hiking into the Himalayas to try to find the rare snow leopard. And yeah, this is something I've wanted to read for a very long time. And like I said, it's classic, and just think I will really enjoy it. And then lastly, I have a little bit of a different book for activity, and that is Beyond Acadia, Exploring the Bold Coast of Down East Maine by Rich Bard. This is more of a field guide type of a book, and it explains and describes lots of activities that you can do, hiking and other outdoor pursuits in Down East Maine, which is where I live. And so my thought for this is to read some of this and to also pick a hike that's described in the book and to hike that and to share it with you in a vlog. So this will be an activity that I pursued during Springathon, and hopefully we'll get a chance to take you along with me when I do that. So that is the last book that is in my pile of possibilities for Springathon. Like I said, I'm going to include some clips of some nature scenery from around where I live, taken over the last couple of weeks. I hope you enjoy that. I hope you find some books that you think would be great candidates for a Springathon, and that you'll join us in reading nature writing books in the month of May. Till next time, I'll talk to you later.